We are the Billionaires Club. I am Sergio Morales, and I will be talking to you about the purpose of our analysis. Jeremy Clark is going to be talking to you about the primary research. Adrian Villarreal is going to be talking about the secondary research and findings. And Joey Cass is going to be talking about recommendations and our conclusions. So the purpose of our report was to identify what social networks St. Edward students like to associate with university clubs, and to get information on their activities, on who they are, what members are they, what they want to achieve. And secondly, to find out if the current social media strategy that the Entrepreneurship Club has employed is working to attract all of its potential club members. And now I'm going to pass it on to Jeremy, who's going to talk to you about the primary research.
Thanks, Sergio. Good evening. As Sergio mentioned, I'm Jeremy. I'm going to be talking to you guys about how we collected and how we analyzed our primary research data. All right, so just kind of get started, the first thing we had to figure out is what are our goals? Our goals were a little different. We weren't going for a business aspect, but we're trying to help a club on campus to actually increase their membership. So to answer our question, we wanted to increase the membership of the Entrepreneurship Club. How do you do that? First off, we need to raise awareness of them. And kind of follow up with that is, how do we do that? How do we increase the membership by increasing their awareness among St. Edward students? We figured a good solid social media campaign would work, and after a little bit of a review, we realized that their social media was not very effective. So they weren't reaching their entire audience. After we identified our goals, we kind of had to figure out, how do we come up with this? So we started developing, how are we going to collect the data? We could do the research online. We could try to come up with it ourselves. We decided a survey is going to be the best way to go about this. We distributed the survey to about 355 students, returned about 243 of them that were valid. I'll talk about that in just a moment. We did tailor our research to answer some specific questions. The good thing about a survey is it allows us to ask very specific questions to get the data that we want. Among the questions asked were, first off, have you heard of the Entrepreneurship Club? Are you familiar with them? Another question, follow-up question to that was, would you be interested in starting your own business? Have you ever thought about that? Would you be interested in joining the Entrepreneurship Club? We could help you do that, give you some tools, business plan opportunities, stuff like that. Going on to that, how do we increase the awareness? Questions were tailored around, what is the most prominent social media among university students? Which one do they use the most for university, professional, and club-related activities? And then we wanted to just kind of gauge an overall activity level of St. Edward students among clubs. So, do you attend clubs? Do you want to stay away from them? What does the student body do? So the good thing about it is also we distributed the survey directly to the student audience. The good thing about having a club on campus is, being on campus, you can distribute all the surveys to the people that they actually are trying to recruit. All right. How we receive and analyze this data. We actually distributed manual surveys out to each person, and this allowed us to actually maintain the data integrity of that survey. What that means is we could look at stuff and analyze it from different metrics. Well, how many students knew about the club? Out of those students who knew about them, how many of them had actually seen the Facebook page? Out of those who were interested in joining, how many were aware of the club? So there were some that, yeah, I'd be interested in doing that, but I was never aware there was an Entrepreneurship Club. It allowed us to get those kind of dynamic metrics. Go a little bit deeper with those. We sampled members of all class levels. We passed the surveys out through all of our classes, as well as going to common areas like the dining halls and the library. This allowed us to get a wide variety of students, not just business majors, not just art majors, but to really get a good feel. We'll get up to a visual aid here to kind of show you the distribution of those. And we got a pretty good distribution that we're confident is actually pretty well reflective of the entire student body. We didn't use any of the responses of graduate students or students who didn't respond to what class level they were in, because a lot of it depended on what class level they're in, which class level you'd like to target. And a lot of times graduate students are here after hours, and 9 times out of 10 they have jobs, other things they want to do, and they don't have a lot of time to dedicate to a club. Goes on to the next point there. We didn't include any surveys that were incomplete. We want all of our data to be solid. With the findings that we got, we were left with a 94% confidence level. So we can be 94% confident that our data is accurate. I'm going to go on. Just to quickly go through, I'm not going to touch on any of the actual conclusions we made off of this, but here's some of the basic findings. So this one is a distribution of responses by class standing. As you can see, about 10% of them either gave us no response or they were graduate level students. We did not include those surveys. As you see, the largest group would be the freshman class, followed closely by the junior class, and then the senior would be the smallest. And given attrition rates at universities, we feel this is a very accurate reflection of a college student body. This is the social media class by social media presence by class standing. So you can see overwhelming Facebook is kind of the dominant social media for all of these. I'm gonna stay away from those for now. And this is another one of those dynamic metrics I talked to you about. Out of the students who were interested in joining the entrepreneurship club or starting their own business, about 44% of them were unaware that the entrepreneurship club existed. So that's a huge target. That's a huge audience you can target with your plans. To go a little deeper into secondary research and come up with some of the findings of this, I'm going to turn it over to Adrian.
Thank you, Jeremy. Hello, I'm Adrian. I'll be covering the secondary research, how it related to our project and how we came about it and getting it, as well as the main findings within our report as well. So we scoured the internet for specifically articles that would help towards the social media aspect as well as about clubs, combining the two together. The first article was from Post Planner, which provided us strategies for running a Facebook page that gets high numbers of interaction and engagement. And the second one was from Inc. magazine, which I thought was perfectly tailored to what they're trying to do. And that offered insights as to what makes a successful club, as well as what kind of content you should be posting to your respective social media outlet in order to gain the highest number of engagements. And then the third was from Forbes magazine, which gave a list of historically successful strategies that people have used to engage their social media aspect, and as well as how you might implement them. And being in this case, it would be implementing to the club's existing Facebook page. And then just to reiterate what Jeremy was saying, we did 355 surveys. Of that, we got 271, and then valid was 243, and then 20 was invalid. And three biggest we found were for university clubs and whatnot were Facebook, and then Twitter, and then Instagram. Of that, only 57% said that they would like to join the entrepreneurship club, but were actually unaware of it. Freshmen and sophomores showed the peakest or the highest interest in wanting to join the entrepreneurship club. And it was sophomores and seniors that were the two largest class standings that actually had never even seen or heard of the entrepreneurship club, which was a little bad. And now I'm going to pass it on to Jim. We'll talk about the recommendations and consideration.
Hey everyone, my name is Joey Cassia. Today I'm going to talk to you about the recommendations that we have for the Entrepreneurship Club. First off, we think that sending out emails just to the student body at the beginning of the year, end of the year, preferably if you could do that mid-semester one as well, would be great, just so that you can get awareness and get your name out there as the Entrepreneurship Club, as that key club that you want it to be. That next one up here is working with other campus clubs. And what we mean by this is really to pick another club within the business field, like the marketing club, and say, hey, everyone who wants to be an entrepreneur within the marketing field, come to the Entrepreneurship Club. And even if it's just showing some kind of interest, that cohesion of groups, it shows that the businesses are working together. It's showing that the clubs are trying to be a community within St. Edwards. This third one is a cool idea that we thought of. It's using a QR code, and that's one of those barcodes that you see on the bus stops or on like different things where you can literally put your phone up to it, and that will be the Facebook site for the Entrepreneurship Club. So we're saying this would be a cool idea to make a little QR code for their first event, and to hand out, and so that no one can say, and they can give these out just regularly, they can give them out at their events, and so that that awareness of their club is not questioned. Because as we saw in the findings and in the statistics, the awareness of the entrepreneurship club right now is very low. Not a lot of people knew about it, and even if they did know about it, no one was showing up to the meetings. So it was really kind of our motive to really try to encourage their Facebook site to get better and really promote their Facebook site, because that's where people are looking to find that information. Last, make the events more public. Make them so it's not so exclusive, because even times the entrepreneurship club should be encouraging more students to be involved, encouraging that risk, that aspect of wanting to be a business owner, wanting to be someone that is part of business and not just being kind of standoffish. Those were our 4 major recommendations. We had 4 other ones that were a little bit further off, but I thought were also very important. Targeting freshmen and sophomores specifically. I think that targeting freshmen and sophomores is important because they can change the way the club works and looks. If you get a lot of freshmen and sophomores involved and they stay and retain in that club, it'll encourage more people to come along and will encourage the next future freshmen and sophomores to join in. Also, creating an Instagram and Twitter. The Entrepreneurship Club has neither, so I think that just having those, even if they aren't the best and biggest site, I think that it would help their social media presence. Also, it would just help their overall recruitment and just presence within the club community on St. Edward's. Also, just promoting their club just in general. They really don't do much promotion or marketing on their own behalf. Even the people involved say that there's not much promotion or involvement. So I think that really using those clubs, using this QR code, and just really just asking their members to even post things and say, hey, this is our really cool club on St. Edward's. We want people to be part of it so that we can continue to have these awesome new companies just pop out in Austin, because we have such smart, cool kids here at St. Edward's, and the entrepreneurship club here should be one of the biggest and booming clubs, really. And I feel like there's so many active minds at this school that want to just want to have those businesses. So I think that this is kind of a shame that it isn't better. In conclusion, we really think that in all, the Facebook site needs improvement. Also, we think that, just as Sergio said, that our purpose was really to just make the Entrepreneurship Club known. And we want to make sure that they are presented in a way that is great and wanting to be a part of. As Jeremy and Adrian presented, they said that all of those facts and statistics about the freshmen and sophomores and just all grades not knowing about it is unacceptable. And I think that throughout all the different findings, you can see that a way better focus and just attention to having social media will increase their membership and make this a much more flourished club. So that is our presentation. Thank you for listening.